Good morning. We are we're saying that our participants are joining us today. We we're gonna give you a minute until everyone so that to make sure that the people can add or join our webinar here. I'm going to share some instructions for those of you who would like to use simultaneous interpretation. We will I don't speak Portuguese. I do hope that those of you who speak Portuguese can understand this a little bit, but we're going to share some instructions for you to use the tool, the simultaneous interpretation tool. So just a couple of minutes to expect so that we can have everyone joining us. And again, thank you for being here. You can also send your or share with us where are you joining us from in the chat. And today we are on to so that we can introduce our nice and great speaker today. We're kind of shy. We have people from Colombia. We also have Lucia from Caracas, Venezuela. Leomari Alfaro, good morning. And thank you. We're going to try to make sure that this session is very interactive. We have people from USA, from Ecuador, we have more people from Venezuela here. So we're going to go ahead and share the instructions here for those of you who are Brazil, who speak Portuguese. And where so please go to the tool in Zoom. It looks like a little globe right there on the bottom. You're going to find a globe, and you can select a language in there. If you want English, select English or Portuguese. So there is another option on the language selection. Please mute or no original audio, so you won't be hearing the two audios in because it can get confusing. So when you silence the original audio, you will not be hearing two persons speaking at the same time. And the other recommendation that we have for you is to use your computer audio and not as a dial-in or the telephone modality, just to make sure that the audio is more straightforward and you will not lose the connection. We have people from Mexico. We have more people joining us. I think we already allocated some time for those of you wishing to join us, and I want uh, to kick off this webinar today, which is the International Women's Day that we just celebrated last March 8th. At um, although at the time it it is the celebration of women or for their struggles to at this time this is more something related to showing women and to help them in all the different challenges of a modern society where women um, has where women have a leading role. For that purpose, we wanted to invite one of them. I want to introduce Andrea Cuellar. Andrea, she's a social communicator with many years of experience, not only in the business for which she started for 10 years, working in sales and marketing, but afterwards, she devoted herself and she specialized in change processes and organizational mentoring, the development of managing skills, where she has over 14 of experience, has wonderful books, and you will find that she has a very beautiful energy. So today she's going to teach us how to manage this female energy so that we can achieve a balance between the professional and the personal aspects with consciousness. So, Andrea, welcome, and the floor is yours. I'm very pleased to be here with you uh, for many, many days. I I know that you're joining us. And I'm going to start sharing so that, as indicated, Anna, we can learn to manage these female. As Anna mentioned, I worked in the corporate setting. I managed the budgets from a very early age, and then I changed to mentoring, personal relations. How can we work with our mind, our emotions, bodies, and then I became more aware of what this female energy means and what it means to be a woman, apart from all the different beliefs that I had in my life. And because I thought that it was more difficult for us, that it would have been easier if I had been a man, because I had more struggle. And as mentioned by Anna, I feel that this celebration of the Women's Day, this is the celebration of the struggles of women in order to gain to have more fair salaries and the voting system. And today, I would like to invite you all to celebrate, to transform, or to re-signify those struggles, and to connect with the female energy that we can truly express nowadays, and that we can also um, make it better in our lives. We are still trying to find spaces, but those moments that thanks to the women who went through these struggles, they're also provided the possibility to open to new adventures. And it's about reconnecting with what it means to be a woman, what we are as a female energy, with that consciousness that we are part of that female energy. How can we provide, make it available to our life, and to do our work, our productivity, our achievements? And this is a celebration of life, because we learned to a certain extent to achieve, to build, to produce from a model that is not ours, taking into consideration our biology. We are. So, what's the female model for us to create, to achieve, to produce, to generate, and to create new possibilities? And I want to join you to raise awareness about this so that we can start honoring not only that biology, but all the different abilities we have as women, so that to make them at the surface of life, and all things to achieve. So, what does it mean to be a woman? Let's try to think about this. I also want to invite you to take a notepad, and because we're going to do a couple of exercises where we're going to write, reflect. The most important thing is to start aligning with what in terms of what this means and how are we going to bring peace into our labor, family, professional lives, all this energy that is basically the energy of nutrition, the female energy in the consciousness of women. This is the nutrition of life. So it's like thinking of the earth. This is the feminine energy, and it allows us to ensure that a seed can grow or that to give birth to a child, and we're going to see what this is all about, which is to create and to manage important thing is we can manage that our energies. We know ourselves, when we know who we are, and when we honor the fact of being a woman. What is being a woman? And the following days of women that we celebrated should become a celebration of the female energy, the possibility to portray this energy. There's something or way how we create this reality and how we create everything is all balance between the male and female energy. There's nothing in reality that that was not created by the combination of the two energies. But how can we make sure some of our ancestors uh, we had to learn to create to sustain more of the align with the energy we already because we're female and because with these qualities in biology, we will flow better with everything that comes up in life and all the different challenges that will be there, and to honor and to celebrate we are. So the invitation of this place is to recognize that the balance is something that we just find. This is something we're creating because we need to create, we need to train ourselves, we need to train our energy, our minds, and we need to train through habits. Words, what the energy entails as a container of the whole experience. Female energy is like that vessel that allows allows us. So how we become that container of our lives, and starting by ourselves, how can we learn to nourish ourselves? And the most important or the most important aspect of female is nutrition. How can we nour- nourish ourselves? Really important. I was talking to a friend, and she said it- that there was a paradigm in terms of the female energy, that it is subtle, that is weak, very soft. And that's not necessarily the case. Is I mean, the being on Earth is capable of giving birth to sustain, to contain, and to give birth. So there has a human in order to uh, do these. It doesn't matter if we decide to be mothers or if we were not able to do it, but our biology indicates that this way we can sustain the energy and manage our own energy through a force that does not require a masculine force. This is the force of life that lies in us, and this is something, and it is not just created on life. So, and using our products, our families, and our professions, because this is something that is already embedded in us. So we're going to ask ourselves, what is a balance to? And I want to invite you to what would be like a balanced life? What would be that operation, this mathematical operation where I can say, well, if I have A plus B, this is going to be balanced. If I have D plus D, this is going to be the right balance for me. Because there's something you mentioned, and balance is from different forces of nature. when those forces interact and they flow in harmony. Those forces are the female and the female and the male energy. Nothing exists without the intervention of both. So how we, those of us who learn to live under masculine model, which is more action focused, we're not leaving aside that something that we want to achieve, we want to be, or but we integrate who we are in this whole creation, in this balance that will allow us to be in a more in a place that more conscious and also nurturing what we are in nurturing life. And there's a very important question that I have to ask you. What's the cover that you use? And this is a very important question, in my opinion, because I think that the vast majority of women, after the struggle that they had, we have we have a lot of layers, like the Wonder Woman or the Superwoman. It's the cover of a fighter or a warrior because we connected to our achievements and the life that we need to have through the effort in the sex. And matter of fact, nowadays a lot of women simply say that, well, I'm a fighter, I'm a warrior. And at times we forget that if we keep struggling, our nervous system will always trying to survive and to react in reaction without allowing ourselves to have these female qualities which include the pleasure and enjoyment. So we're reaching the peak, we reach the number, we reach the budget, we make the sale, we achieve productivity, and that way we and we end up being tired, and that then and then it is impossible to enjoy. So if we can start mobilizing this energy through the chat, those of you who want to share what's the coverage that you have? Are you a warrior? Are you the Wonder Woman? Are you because those layers, although they helped us survive and they have helped us throughout the years to ensure that women today can be what we currently are. There's at some point in time when we need to get rid of that cup. And how can we manage these life? And then for your mind, it could be you could may end up saying that you are going to lose. And we already left home where we are um, uh, getting rid of those female traits because that was part of the nurturing. But we can bring quality of care and construction and core to everything we do. And then, and based on my experience, to do that by addressing our own life from a more pleasure approach uh, with intuition connection, the achievements will multiply. Even the invoicing, everything that we want to achieve will multiply itself because we're benefiting from those female qualities, some that which is what we really are in order to align with life. Oh, teachers, self-sufficiency. Yes, we're using that cover, the self-sufficiency. I can do it myself. I don't need anyone. Why? Because this is the way how we learn to move in this male or masculine model. I mean, we cannot deny that the history was not favoring women in many, many senses. And then we had to go through that struggle. So understand that struggle doesn't have to take place. And this is something that we do unconsciously when we are with our mothers, we start obtaining information about our reality that indicates what is it that we need to do to survive. So if I feel that I'm generating or causing problems. Perhaps my mother was not ready for me to be born, and if I feel like a burden, that then I learned to be a good person, to behave good, to be a good person, and 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 I I use this layer of self. So these covers help me survive in the early years. But when we're adult, we don't need that cover, so we can start living instead of surviving. And the same applies to the story of women. These struggles that we have to be very grateful, because if it weren't for those struggles, we wouldn't be here. We do not need to continue that way. Although there are some environments where we need to create balance, where we are perhaps more vulnerable in terms of our safety, but there are struggles that we do not need, but we're still using that cover. And this cover that that of the struggle that was fought by many uh, women, what we have to do, need to honor the struggles by honoring the female energy and what we truly are. This female energy this is like a vessel, a container that's a consciousness that we can add in life. So let's imagine if our trade or profession becomes something sacred, something that can flow. Every time I do a session or when I have a project, in an Excel spreadsheet, I turn on a light that connects me to the intention, because this is how I'm moving life, and I'm moving this creativity, and I'm moving all the different possibilities. Carolina speaks about intelligence. So how can we remove this layer? Because we're learning to be this way, because there is something very important. You will learn that if I'm a fighter, a warrior, or the Wonder Woman, this is why I'm worth it. And this is what it's given me such a value. And managing this energy implies testing what happens if I remove this cover, if I get rid of one of the knots of this cover, what happens if I allow myself not only to ask for help, but also to have all the different resources that I have within me in order to create? What happens if I can go 5 instead of running around and doing this and that? Why don't I sit down and ask about what I need to ask? What is it that I can do at this time? And to perhaps to let that let go, which is to entails pain, so that we can have a sphere of imagination contained. She's one that is holding, reminding us that from the female energy that we have this type of contention. If our body, our biology is capable of managing or to contain, to nurture, and to give life, this we have available for everything in our life. So let's remember that this is a struggle. If I keep on saying that I am a struggle in my unconsciousness, I will always have a fight. I will never have enjoyment or ease or pleasure, because deep inside I keep on fighting in order to achieve, in order to have and to be better. So what could imagine if we get rid of the fighter title, but open to that available, that a fighter being a person of choice, or having a more expanded female consciousness that will allow us to connect here. So, since we're replicating a model that does not belong to us, we end up dying. We are trained, and we didn't even know we did. And something also important to mention is that when we're sustained the time, when we want to have everything the same way, talking about the difference between male and female, we're not recognizing that we are different, and since we're different, we also have different needs. So, what where are we placing our energy? Where are you investing your energy? So let's imagine we have like these batteries that we have that we use to remote controls, which are 100% charged, and this is something that is exhausted at the end of the day. But at times we're not even aware as to how are we investing this energy because we waste our energy with this struggle control without rebooting it. We don't know how to, and this is not going to take away a lot of time. One of the diseases teacher is saying that I have no time for this or that, and we need to open to a better consciousness in order to manage yourself. I'm going to ask a few questions, and in those questions, there are four options to respond. One is always, the other one is at times, early, and never. I'm going to ask some questions so that we can connect with consciousness. Is your relation with the way I give? So, am I feeling responsible for many things and persons around me? Always, sometimes, rarely, never. And let's think. Let's just try to. Is it difficult in somebody's asking for support? Sometimes, rarely. I feel that if I do not do something, nobody else will do it, or the same way as I would. Sometimes, rarely, do I prioritize the needs of others. I take. Am I willing to be recognized for everything I do? Or share them. We can also share them questions. Why is this flow in keep seeking sustaining? And I have another question. Do I easily accept when somebody's offer support or aid without guilt? Do I allow myself without feeling that I am not being productive? Do I ask for support when I need it without any fear to be considered weak? Do I receive accomplishment uh, without disregarding the relevance they have? Always, rarely, never. Do I deserve receiving positive things without working hard for it? Always, sometimes, rarely, or never. And the inner balance. Do I feel in harmony with my life and my relations? Always, sometimes I have clear limits and I communicate them without any type of guilt. And do I identify when I'm feeling emotionally exhausted? Can we identify if we're emotionally exhausted? Do I allow myself times of self-care, self-love, and self-containment without feeling selfish? Always, sometimes, rarely, never. My day-to-day flows with the feeling of balance. Always, sometimes, rarely, never. If our responses were always sometimes and always, we are not having an energy balance in terms of the self-care that we need to provide ourselves. So we're going to share with you a guideline that that when you get coding so that you can ask the questions and to reflect with your time. And that way you can have all the different tips that we will be showing today in this space. How are your responses? Do you have what were your responses? Because if it's rarely or never, um, That's wonderful. Yes, that we're going to share all the questions. If your your responses was always, I think that we're lacking energy. uh, We balanced from balanced. Most of the times. In general terms, when we do this from our most conscious side, we notice that giving and receiving is not balanced. That this self-care is not balanced, and there are some keys to balance. Your life needs time, your body, and as I mentioned, we have different, because we're different. We're different. Something important to mention is the consistency. We all want to have a bunch of things. I want to enjoy, I want the abundance, the peace. But if what I want is not aligned with whatever I do and with whatever I am, then I am not a coherent person. If I want a super quiet life, but if I'm always running, I am not consistent or coherent. If I want to have If you want to have a life full of personal value, but if you don't recognize that, I cannot stop to recognize the value I have, then I am not. And when there's no coherence within ourselves, this will generate a lot of emotional pain. And the thing is, what will the life I would like to have, or the balance that I would like to have in my life? And these, how is balance creating these another 3 hours that we can do in the water, visualize eating. We're going to do some practices, breathing practices that will allow us to mobilize this energy. But what am I in order to be coherent to what I want and what I am currently doing? Because in general terms, we are, if we're standing, we are following these um, male model of struggles. So what if I could do the same thing I do from enjoyment in consciousness? This will be difficult. As majority, we're not doing the best to balance. This is one question. Who do you? And this question is extremely important. It's, it is essential not you to have balance. You need to look like you compared to anyone else, including any other woman or any male or any others apart from you, or another person that you're comparing to. And comparisons, this is something that you do because nowadays we have the social media, we have a lot of information. Without noticing it, we are comparing our lives with those of other people. But who do you look like? Who are you? What do you like? What what do you feel about this? Not for everyone. Not for everyone. Not everyone can eat the same food, the same type of diet or music itself. Some people focus more, and others have to concentrate with more joy by having a better type of music. And how are we going to do this? The only way is by getting to know ourselves and to know what is it we are doing. And it is not about trying to fit in external patterns. Otherwise, we will not fit if we do not fit within ourselves. So how can I fit? How can I create my own model wellness with the different tools that, in my opinion, are even more important, because we cannot ask a chat GPT what is good for me, because that's something that you can know, and that happens within you. And it's like playing, like when we try the different flavors in a kitchen. I like this one, this one I don't like. And we need to recognize that our bodies will always provide two movements, one for expansion and one for contraction. So if I want to experience these, let's say that I play some music, because I don't even know what's my preferred type of music, and you can feel contracted or expanded. So this is something that is contracting me, then we should let it go. And it doesn't matter if science or if something outside of my peers or those who am I comparing with, if they're using this type of music that is contracting me, because the best connection is internal. So the world will teach you what you have to do, what you need to sustain, but it doesn't teach you that there's a female way to do it, a feminine way, in a more open way, something even more enjoyable. So when we start doing whatever we have to do, when you start doing whatever you need to do, not only what you're feeling within, then in that case, there is no coach, and there will be a lot of imbalance. So how can we work or produce from energy and pleasure? During the pandemic, I used to say, "Oh my God, I'm not. I'm going. I hate washing dishes." And I said, "Well, I'm going to wash dishes, but I will connect and I will play the best music. I will have a glass of wine and I do things in a more pleasant way." So this is how you're not going to have to keep on fighting and feeling painful. I need to find the best tools in order to be a better version of me. So if you don't know who you are, you will never know how to manage your energy. How can I manage it if I don't know who I am? And uh, and if I don't know if I do not take the time to stop and say, what do I need in terms of energy? When we're stressed, when we are sad, when we have a lot of emotions, when we're frustrated, we need to stop and breathe. It can be half a minute. We should fill our hearts. What do I need from me? And that's the nutritional. This is the female type of energy. What can I allow myself? What is useful for me at this time? And your internal voice can say, well, a glass of water, or going to the bathroom, or playing this music, or breathing this way, or looking at this image of your child that brings you to a place of love. It can be anything, but just pay attention to what you need internally. What do I need from me? I would like to invite you to ask this question to yourselves in your lives. What can Intel love from me? It's not about punishing yourself. You didn't do this. You were not capable of doing it. How can we turn that question? And why don't we ask, what do I need and what can I give or allow myself to do in this moment? So these are questions that will allow me to manage energy in a very different way. We can manage our energy, which is unique apart from this. And we need to determine for nurturing the right way. Remember that the female energy, we're a nutritional source, and it's the female energy. So when you do not take care of yourself, when you do not nurture yourself, you will be affecting you either nurture yourself or you're hurting yourself, because you're in that type of contraction. You're having struggles. So if you're not there for you, you cannot give. If you nurture yourself, you can give yourself. It's It's like in the airplanes with the masks. You need to do it first, and then you need to take care of those around you. So this includes your projects, your work team, society, family. You need to start nurturing yourself. So how are you nurturing yourself every day? Because people may say, "Well, I'm going to get some rest for 5 minutes, and the resting period is simply looking at the social media." That you are filling yourself, you're intoxicated with a lot of information at that time, and this is something that you can live for a different period of time, and without noticing, and you unconsciousness, you are comparing yourself. How can you nurture yourself? How can you stop and say, well, to me, it is really important for this space to be organized. It is important to have water because I'm thirsty. For me, it is important to do pauses, and then I stand and stretch. So what's the most important thing for yourself? And because it is not just about the nutrition, this is not just physical with the food, but it's about coming here and why, how am I nurturing? What's the information I'm hearing? What am I reading every day? If I am looking at the news or the situation out there, some of us need to look at the different topics of work, but how can I take what I need and how can I start nurturing? Can you nurture yourself? What are you consuming in terms of information and food? And this is the basis of energy management. The first one is coherence. You need to look at yourself and you have to be very conscious of the way you're nurturing. And within this dynamic and this energy dimension, we as women, we need to recognize that we are cyclic. Also, men are cyclic as well, but the female energy is cyclic as we have the seasons, the moon with the different phases for 28 days, our own energy when we have these female cycles, regardless if we are ovulating or if we are menopausic or premenopausic, the cycles are taking place. Our biology all the time is changing. Your biology changes, but the model doesn't change. Your biology changes, but not the system. So at times we end up doing the same effort, but we have to do it from a female consciousness. So I'm going on the guide. There will be a calendar for you so that you can determine if you are within your or you're if you're ovulating, it will be very clear when which are the cycles we have in the month, or if we're menopausic, then we can guide ourselves by the moon cycles. But this is not something that I will believe on the moon or that I'm going to blame it on the moon. I'm going to take a look at this and to determine what's happening to me. How am I feeling? And it makes sense when the I you can feel more energy. And this is a suggestion. There are things that you cannot change, obviously. But when we are in our menstrual phase, which is the same comparison, the new comparison that we have more energy to do reflection and assessments of our business, to visualize these strategic objectives, to rest and to recover energy for what's coming, to write ideas, to connect with that creativity, to meditate and to connect, to look for different spaces and inspiration. And this takes place from day 1 to 5 of our cycle, or the new moon. And there's this is something very important. Just as when we are in the cycle ovulating, in this stage, this is where the body is telling you that this is not useful. When you let go and when you start moving, that's the time for us to be conscious in terms of what's not useful. So we are much more emotional. We're having emotions more aligned, but they are also joining us to do this consciousness work and this and they're helping us be aware, for example, sadness of what's really important. This is be careful with what's the most important thing for you, and take that responsibility. This phase will help us connect the the crescent moon. It has to do with the project planning strategies in order to learn new skills, to organize this internal structure, to design, and to experience new ideas and to make more strategic decisions. The ovulation phase, which is the full moon, this is also the right time to do a presentation, to implement actions. We want to see, we want to present new ideas in terms of visibility. We have more, we have harder communications. We can announce new products and new novelties, and this is the perfect time to do teamwork. And when we are in the lutein phase, this is where we optimize processes, we close cycles, we check finances, we can delegate works in tasks, we can close deals, analyze results, and I'm gonna share this calendar. That energy, when we have this type of energy, and when if it is available, and if I align it to what I truly need, what's gonna happen in me? How can I honor my cycles? How how can I avoid this self-demand? Because the process of creation, this is the creation process that needed to have a baby o- or something that I would like to establish. So first, we need to create some spaces. We need to create these spaces in our day to day, and to create this space to what we truly need, like letting go these emotions or connections or things that are not useful for us in order to gain some space. It's like when a baby cannot be conceived by a mother. And the first thing is I create these spaces, then I take care of my nutrition, and then I sustain myself from the internal energy I can contain, and I can also give birth, which is that manifestation. It's I create the space. If I have no space in my life or in my energy, if I don't let the go, then I will not nurture. I cannot sustain. I cannot contain the whole energy. And it is important with this information. We need to be aware of how to reload your energy. These energy management is related to coherence, to looking into yourself, and that the energy recharge is something that you can design based on what we need or based on what's important for us. And I want to invite you at this time to close your eyes for 1 minute so that we can breathe, so that we can be aware of our breathing, to make sure that this breathing is not just a process that is fortunately automatic, but also to be conscious. If you stop at this time, and if you close your eyes, and if you breathe, and if you can look at the temperature of air, coming in and out, how do you feel the air coming into your body when you breathe out? You can be much more present, and you can be right here right now. And there's a breathing. Now that we're breathing, I want to explain this to you. This is a 4-time breathing. Keep your eyes closed. Breathe in, inhale, retain for a couple of seconds that air, and then exhale with your mouth to expel that air. And then you can retain. You stop for a few seconds, and this is something that will calm you down. And then you can inhale, then exhale, and then you retain that inhalation, and then you and then you exhale. And that's where your mind will be more present, and you can be more present, and you can also take your responsibility for yourself. And you have to visualize like a great sphere or a bubble that is in front of you. You will visualize that bubble, and you will select the best color that you like the most in order to achieve this balance without the intervention of the mind. Imagine that this bubble has a color that will create your balance. And imagine that you are going into that bubble, that you go into that bubble, that you can inhabit this bubble, and you can be contained by that bubble. And imagine that this bubble that is containing you is this energy, this female contention, nutrition, energy, love. And you will allow yourself to stay there for a few seconds and to recognize how you feel when you allow yourself this space, which are the sensations in your mind, in your body, in your energy. And then feel free to open your eyes and you can share on the chat how do you feel in terms of these breathing, this conscious breathing, the use of the bubble colors. This is something that you can share with us in the chat. And uh, and it is important. It's just a few seconds. It can be minutes or seconds. I mean, that depends on you. You need to stop, you need to breathe, and you need to be aware of what you have within yourself. What do you need from you? How can I connect with myself? And this bubble, this is a very ancient technique of connection, relaxation, and through this technique you can let go. You can let go certain thoughts, and you can nurture yourself. You can recognize yourself. I felt light and full of peace. I mean, it's such an easy thing to do. This 4 time inhalation, I can inhale and then I exhale, and then and this will always calm you down. And when you have a lot of tension, I mean, the breathe in and breathe out, this long breathing is going to help you a lot. And imagine this bubble. The color doesn't have to be the same color. You can just think of the color that will make you feel more peaceful and balanced. So follow your intuition, go into that bubble and feed and nurture from everything that's available. That way you can recognize how to nurture internally, connecting to pleasure, love, enjoyment, connecting ourselves. What's something exciting for me? Uh, I mean, your job shouldn't be painful. How can I make this sacred? How can I make this beautiful? How can I add this nutritional energy? Because we cannot get to pleasure through pain. We cannot feel the way we want to feel through those forms of life that we're inhabiting every all the time. And we need to train ourselves. We need to feel this type of enjoyment. We want this abundance. Let's become magnetic. Let's become abundant. So I want abundance. Do you feel abundant? Do you recognize the abundance that you have in terms of resources, information, and energy? And the most important thing is for you to select. You need to celebrate. How would you select yourself? And and those of you who are taking notes, ask yourself this question: what how will how will be my life if I select myself? So this is: how will my life be if I elect myself and if I celebrate who I am? The first thing that comes up to you, one phrase, one word, something that comes up, and that way we will do something that I do recommend, and it's this is journaling. Let's ask ourselves questions and let's allow our intuition to guide us. That making sure that this female force is how can I enjoy this love? How can I do this that perhaps I don't like it from the enjoyment, from pleasure and love? What would be the possibility there? Like when I like washing the dishes, which is something that I didn't like. So this is some sort of flow where you can breathe in, breathe out, you can move your energy. And the movement is very important. Alignment. Who are you? What's your nature? What's the your most authentic being? Attention. What am I paying attention to? I'm the effort. How can I make this pleasant? The expansion has to do with asking yourself, is this the only way to do it? Or is this the only possibility? Is this the only way where I could connect myself to do what I'm doing, the dosing? Where am I placing my energy? Letting go to have a, and the connection with myself, with my heart and my life, and also creating all these consciousness and energy. So how can we align with ourselves? And let's remember that the balance is not something that we find. This is something that we create. How can I train myself in order to turn this feminine energy into a possibility and to enjoy and to love by adding those ingredients to what I want to create, to my achievements and my targets. Thank you so much for the space. While while we wrap up, I don't know if you have any questions or doubts. I'm going to pass the floor to Anna. Please let us know in the chat how are you feeling, and remember that we're going to share the guidelines so that you can have all the different tips and to put them into practice, and in order for you to establish this cycle calendar, and you will see how powerful that tool is. When you have this type of energy, this is the best thing that I could do at this time because I have the energy for these available. And that way, I can do this in a more expansive way. So thank you so much. I'll stop sharing now. And I will now pass the floor to Anna. Thank you, Andrea. I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much. I felt I there's a need of balance, and I felt and I felt relaxed. But now I have some guidelines in terms of what can I do, because this is the idea. We need to implement these actions. Because personally speaking, I didn't have. I was not so aware of the level of imbalance that I had due to the layers of self-sufficiency, being responsible for everything. And by noticing that, that's when you can implement actions. And you have shared some guidelines for to, and they're actually useful. They're uh, duly grounded. They can be put into practice very easily, and they do not require major efforts apart from the commitment to myself. And we're going to share your social media, our gratitude to everyone for your participation. Those, if you have any questions, please feel free on the chat. Andrea is going to be a few minutes with us. And uh, and these type of initiatives, this is something that Bumi took a few years ago, not only in terms of Women's Day, but this is an initiative that we also have for specific topics related to health, and in many other topics where we also feel that there's a need or that there's an interest on the part of our agents, our insureds, and our followers. So the invitation is for everyone to please send us your comments. What would you like to hear? What would you like to see? As Andrea indicated, we will send you an email with the guideline that she will be sharing the video if you want to see it, or if you want to share this video with other people or other women around you. And we will also submit a survey so that you can tell us what else would you like to see. For us, it's been a pleasure to give you this beautiful gift, and we do hope we can join you in everything that we can throughout life. Andrea, thank you so much. I'm sharing my social media here. And you're completely right in terms of, if we are not conscious that we are in an imbalance, we will never be balanced. So you need to you need to be aware of this, and you need to commit to action. Ask yourself these questions to honor and to celebrate this female energy that is available in order to create. And I have to confess something. If you had asked me, I would, if you asked me about my balance, I would say, "Whoa, oh my God, I'm the most balanced person." And I have to confess that I ended this paradigm in the first question that you asked. What is balance? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, a great week, and we hope to see you in a very live webinar.